There's something magical about Christmas. The twinkling lights and the scent of fresh pine trees filling the air. It's the rustling of wrapping paper, the laughter of loved ones gathered around the table, and the melodies of Christmas carols sung. As beautiful as all these things are, the heart of Christmas is the story of love coming down to meet us, to dwell with us. It's an invitation, a call to slow down and prepare Him room. Room for hope, room for peace, room for Jesus.
Home is the sailor, home from the sea, and the hunter home from the woods. Home is the pastor, home from church, and the teacher home from the school. Fire's on. Lori, how about some hot chocolate? Man, 15 degrees, the car said. And I got in, it also said my tire light was on. I don't know what that's all about. I did bring an ornament home for the tree. I like this one. Look at Santa Claus. He's bowing the knee to the baby. I'm not even going to put that on the tree yet. Maybe we'll just put that right here. But wow, look at this present. Does anybody shake a present before they open it? Everyone doesn't do that? Come on. If it's got your name on it, you got to shake it. I hope there's no cat in here. Like, oh no. Good. My dad, he can't open a present without, when we grew up, we watched the Three Amigos. He would shake it and we would all look at each other and he would go, "It's the sweater." You haven't even seen that movie. It's okay. It's fine. I mean, the big Christmas question about movies is Die Hard a Christmas movie? So listen. It is a Christmas party, okay? It is a Christmas party. Hostages are taken by terrorists. And McClane comes in and saves the day. That's a Christmas movie. There's a tree in there. Anybody think that's not a Christmas movie? Oh, come on. Then my question, we can boo them. That's right. This is church. We can boo. We boo Satan. We boo. No. That's right. Yeah. If Jesus isn't in the movie, is it a Christmas movie? How about that? So think about that. Is it a Christmas movie if Jesus is not in it? At Living Hope, I'm so glad you're here. We love Jesus. And it's all about Him. From top to bottom, left to right, start to finish, however you want to describe it, it's all about Jesus. Without no Christmas, there's no Easter. And there's no hope, and there's no joy to the world, and there's no grace, and there's no peace. And you can do your best, and you can get the best presents, and you can get all caught up in the season and that spirit. But without Jesus, I don't know where you would be. So that's why we sing these songs, and oh my goodness, here comes heaven. What a moment that is, huh? I don't know how you enjoyed that song, but I could just hear that over and over and over again. That is Christmas. Heaven came to earth. We're going to look at Luke 2. I want you to compare and contrast in your mind this glory and also earth. We're talking about prepare Him room. And last week we said it is room for the Messiah, which is room for God. And He's prophet, priest, and king. That is who Christmas is all about. I mean, so it's no small thing. It's not just a baby in a manger. It is Messiah. It's everything. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He's the prophet. He's the priest. So we're going to prepare Him room. If that's who He is, it begs the question, is there room on earth? So that's our thought today. If that is who He is, then in this Christmas story, is there room in our living room? In your living room, in your heart, at your work, in your family, is there room on earth for this King? Jesus doesn't deliver a package. He is the package. I know we got a lot of packages on our front steps here. He delivered Himself so He can deliver you. His incarnation brings us salvation. So, are you looking for Santa or are you looking for a Savior? Packages need to be delivered. People need to be saved. And he's on a saving mission. Is there room in your heart for him? Let's jump into it. Luke chapter 2. I'm going to pick it up on verse 8. I'll have the verses on the screen. If you don't have a Bible or want to read in a Bible, you can raise your hand. One of the ushers will get you a Bible. Would love to give you that gift, especially if you don't have one. Luke chapter 2, verse 8. And just let this story just wash over you. The baby was just born, and it says, in the same region, there were shepherds out in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with great fear. And the angel said to them, fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior who is Messiah, the Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying, glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those with whom he is pleased. And the angels went away from them into heaven. The shepherds said to one another, let's go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us. And they went with haste. They found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And when they saw it, they made known the saying that has been told them concerning this child. And all who heard it wondered at what the shepherds had told them. But Mary treasured up all these things, pondering them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen as it had been told them. May God add his blessing to the reading of his word. It is alive and active. His spirit is in this room. And the goal today is not so much to master the word, but let the word master us, to look back, but let our heart look ahead, at what he's doing in the world, in your life, and how can we prepare him room. God, would you do that, even as a statement, but even as a prayer for each of us today. This story never gets old. It's every time I read it, I feel like I notice something different, and you put yourself in the story, maybe as different people, but you can't exhaust it. It's remarkable. It's special. The first thing I want you to see is room on earth for those down-to-earth people. Is there room on earth? Is there room on earth for the down-to-earth people? I hear somebody use that phrase this week. They were talking about so-and-so, and they said, oh, you know what? He's a real down-to-earth person. And I got thinking, oh, I like that. A real down-to-earth person. When you think about Christmas and you think about the incarnation, do you think about Jesus who God rolled up his sleeves? He comes down to earth. Anybody make a gingerbread house at all yet? Or anybody planning to? Yeah, imagine that. You make a gingerbread house, and then imagine this. You become a gingerbread. Imagine that. You're in the scene you just made. That would be kind of it. Is that incredible? The author of the story put skin on, and he comes down to ordinary people, really down-to-earth people. He comes down to earth. It's extraordinary to think about it. I don't know what contrast you saw. We're going to look at just a couple of them. The first one is shepherd and angels. But don't miss the down-to-earth town. It's the town of Bethlehem. I don't know. It depends on who you read and all the different studies. Bethlehem could have been 300 people. At the most, it could have been 3,000. I'll split the difference, 1,500 people. So we're not talking about Philadelphia here. We're not talking about Doylestown or Quakertown. We're not talking about Percy. We're talking about Fountainville, Silverdale. Before you drive through, you realize you just drove through a town. Whatever. It is a nothing town. Maybe it had a stigma to you're Bethlehem, you're nothing. There's Jerusalem. How do I get there? But Maybe they felt a little bit of pride. Micah 5:2, maybe they all said it, or part of their address. If you open the Bethlehem Herald, it probably said the weather, and then it said, Messiah's coming. Bad weather's coming, and so is the Messiah, we hope. And they've been saying this for years and years and years. Messiah's coming, and that was their town. Don't just skip past Bethlehem. You can stay. We got inns. We'll make room for you, and stay here at Bethlehem. There's a census, big deal. I'm not being facetious, it's a big deal. Everyone's coming to, so if it was 300, maybe now it's 900. If it's 3,000, maybe it balloons to 9,000. So people are there on this. You go back to your roots, but Bethlehem is a stir. It's incredible to think of what's happening, and the Messiah has come, and there's shepherds and angels, shepherds and angels, shepherds and angels. It's crazy. Can't make this up. It's incredible. That's who the angels go to. Why didn't they show up in Jerusalem or Bethlehem even? They're in a field talking to shepherds. It's important you kind of think that through. Why would that be? What does it mean? David, Bethlehem was the town of David. He was a shepherd. So was Abel. So was Moses. So was Amos. So was Zechariah. There's some pretty well-known shepherds. A shepherd was typically a young boy before they got responsibilities and went on. They would care for sheep, and sheep were valuable. It was a dangerous job. They could possibly lose their life. They would lay down their life for sheep. Sometimes they spent not just all day, but all night with them. So it was a serious job. They had a rod, which was a short stick with a big end to it, and sometimes they even had sharp things come out of the end because you never know when a lion's going to attack. They had a staff for guiding, for walking. They had a sling in case something they saw on the horizon that was coming at them, or a predator, or whatever that may be. They would give a warning shot. They would do a makeshift little pen. And the sheep knew their voice, knew the shepherd's voice. And he would call them, sometimes even by name. And sometimes shepherds would get together with a lot of different sheep, but when they wanted to get separated, the shepherd would call out to his sheep, and they knew the shepherd's voice. And so they would separate and go to their shepherd and their pen, and he would put them in there and count them. And sometimes he would sleep by the door, one way in, one way out. Any predators he would know. So that's the life of a shepherd. It was dangerous, but it was not clean. It was dirty. Jesus talks a lot about shepherds. He tells many stories about how he was the true shepherd and that his sheep will know his voice when he calls to them. He tells an amazing story about a shepherd would leave 99 to go to one. That's how valuable a sheep is. Not that he's leaving the 99 in danger. They're not in danger. They're in the pen. He would leave the 99 to find that one wandering sheep, and they would rejoice greatly when it was found, and they would bring the sheep back. It's a beautiful picture of the heart of God, how much he loves us. Sheep would spook easily, so with someone skittish like that, how important a calming voice is. And they would listen and know their shepherd's voice, and they would follow him. It's amazing what Jesus would speak and say. Now, they would go into this town to find a manger and a Messiah. I don't know, did you see that contrast as well? We got angels and shepherds, but we also got a Messiah being born in a manger. What is that all about? What does that mean? Why is that a thing? Why is that the sign? So I know there's many movies that have inns, and you think of a Holiday Inn or whatever that may be. The word here is a guest room. So I don't know if it's like some movies painted, and usually people slept, if it was 2 floors, they slept on the top floor. If there was no room, there's a guest room, usually for animals out back. So make no mistake, animals, a part of the Christmas story, is a good thing. I think it's a true thing. There is a manger. It is a container for food. That's where they would put the food, a feeding trough. That's it. And so if there was no room up top, which is crazy to think because it's a census, meaning Mary and Joseph, who are both from David, in that line, would have family all over the place. So I don't know, is there a stigma? Here's a young girl, pregnant. I know they're betrothed, but she's pregnant, about to give birth. Like, not here. There's no room for you here. I don't know if that's a part of it. And it doesn't matter if you think of an inn, if you think of a cave. They're going out to some guest room out back. The Messiah, the prophet, priest, king, King of kings, Lord of lords, is being born, swaddled, cared for, a mom who cares, tending to needs, wrapping him up, and putting him in a container for food. It's, whoa. But this is a sign, and this is what the angels tell them about, and they take off and they run. Is it going to be hard to find or not? Again, it's bustling. It's a big town now, this time, but they kind of know. I don't think they're knocking on every door. They went right to the alleys. They went right to the caves. They went right out back, and to find a baby in a manger is extraordinary. But what does it all mean? This humility of our God and his heart is really incredible. It's not a high-profile birth. He's not being born in some castle or it's not behind some walls. It's not in a palace. This God, you don't need to go through the gates. You don't need to make an appointment. You don't need to try to get a little glance. He is accessible. He can be seen, he can be touched, he can be held. He's available, he's approachable. This is who God is. Jesus wouldn't talk about himself much. We just see one clear verse. It's in Matthew 11, and he says, "Take my yoke and learn from me. I am gentle and lowly in heart." That is who he is. He is his servant Messiah, this servant leader. It's incredible. So he came for the Marys, the shepherds in a manger. I think because this next point is there's room on earth for true joy and peace with no humbug. It doesn't, if you get caught up in the spirit of Christmas today, and it's a beautiful spirit, but when you're driving on the roads, it's not so beautiful. And when you're waiting for that package and you see somebody take it off your porch, it's not Merry Christmas. It's beautiful. Did you see the contrast between fear and joy, or fear and peace, or fear and glory? It's kind of all over here. It's go back. Look at, I think it's verse 9. And the angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone all about them, and they were filled with great fear. That's an okay translation. Literally, like he's saying here, they were terrorized with great fear. Like they were panicked with great fear. They were anxious. Like he's using all these adjectives to try to capture. Imagine, down to earth people. You're in the sky. You've looked up at the sky. You know the stars. You know the sheep. It's the calm light, whatever it may be. And the breakthrough happens, and here comes angels. They're undone. And just imagine that, because these are, nothing is going to shake these guys. They've seen it all. They've faced lions. What is an angel? But they are shaken to the core, and with great fear. They are filled. They are panicked with great fear. They probably couldn't move. We even see soldiers, when an angel appears to a soldier, a Roman soldier, they're stiff. Like they fall to the ground. So these are angels in the presence of God. And now these gentlemen are filled with great fear. They're seeing a glory they don't know anything about. And it stuns them. And so the angel says beautifully, don't fear. It is hopeful. It's great, because the next thing that person says, imagine if you're at gunpoint or whatever it is that you get scared about and you have great fear, the next words are like the most important words, right? Is this my last breath I'm about to take? Is it over from here? Or, And the first thing they say is, you lose. No, they don't say anything like that. They say, fear not. Okay, I don't, maybe they could take a breath for the first time, but not just the same way that they felt. They actually say something completely different. I bring you good news of great joy. I feel like even that translation is just okay because they are being so over the top. Like, don't fear, but actually you are gonna be delighted with the best news you've ever heard in your life. It is evangelism is what the word here, it's good news is what we talk about here. It's the gospel. In that town that you guys know so well, maybe for some of you it was your hometown, whatever, that little Bethlehem, yes, this happened. Like, don't wait for the newspaper tomorrow. Don't worry about the weather. In the town of David, a Savior, the Messiah, the Lord, is born. Incredible. Why us? Is that true? Wait a minute, that's happened tonight? It changes them. It really transforms their life. You're going to see they're going to run, they're going to make haste, and they're going to go, and they're completely changed. But just linger in that moment. You're shepherds, you're unclean, you're nobodies. No one knows your name. And here comes the angels proclaiming it to you, what has just happened. It is transformation. I think we try to capture it in some of our movies. I think of the movie Scrooge or A Christmas Carol. Remember how it starts to paint Scrooge? He's so grumpy, he's a humbug. And the guy asked him, hey, remember to be, he says, would you make a donation? He says, what should I put you down for? And Scrooge says, nothing. Oh, you wish to be anonymous? I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish for, gentlemen, this is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. Oh, my goodness. Many people can't get help, and they won't want to go to these places that you like. They would rather die. And he says, if they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. This guy's got problems. Who's going to change the Scrooges of this world? Well, we know the story. It's the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. He has this dream of all dreams, this night of all nights, and he's changed. He wakes up. He can't even believe it's Christmas. He's giddy like a little schoolboy, and he's completely changed. Look at this scene just so you can capture the transformation.
I've heard that laugh before. I say, what's today?
Eh?
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? What Christmas Day?
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow. Do you know the poulterers on the corner?
I should hope I did.
What an intelligent boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
The one as big as me?
What a delightful child. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
Is it? Go and buy it then.
Walker.
No, I'm in earnest. Go and buy it, bring it back here, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. He shan't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Mrs. Dilber. Merry Christmas!
Oh my God! He's got me!
My dear Mrs. Dilber, you're the loveliest creature I have ever laid eyes upon. Dance with me, Mrs. Dilber. Dance with me.
Oh, me, Mr. Scrooge! What else me? He's completely deranged!
What a charming woman. I shall love it as long as I live. What an honest face it has.
Hello? Is the bird?
Hello! Whoop! How are you? Merry Christmas. Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town. You must have a cab. Drive on, my good man. Hilly-hoo! Cheer up! Cheer up! Bob's your Uncle Benny's your aunt. Here's your Aunt Benny. Give it up, folks. You'll be a long time yet. Don't let the worms have all the fun.
He just tore his ACL.
Good morning, sir. And Merry Christmas to you.
And to you, sir.
Happy holiday. And a Merry Christmas to you.
God bless you, sir.
Glad tidings.
He just runs into the guy that he told off the night before, and he asks for a pardon, and he promises to bless them and to make a donation like they've never seen, and he's true to his word, and this transformation is beautiful, what happens in his life, and it's a great movie, watching this transformation of Scrooge. And it's actually what happens in Christmas when you start to understand the true spirit of Christmas. Look at verse 16. It says, and they went with haste. These shepherds are having this same kind of transformation. They're humbled by what happened. They can't believe it. And they're going to a manger, and they're going to see the Messiah. And they went with haste. They found Mary and Joseph. When they saw it, they knew it, right? This was the sign. When they saw it, they made known the saying, the Savior has been born, the Messiah, he's Christ, he's the Messiah, the Lord. And they told everybody, everyone they ran into. They went all to the 300 or 3,000 or however it may be. They couldn't keep quiet. Maybe they jumped on the sleds and maybe they threw snowballs. I don't know. They can't stop. They're changed. All who heard it wondered. Interesting. Wondered. They wondered at what the shepherds told them. Is that possible? A Messiah in a manger? But Mary treasured all this up, pondering them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had seen and heard as it had been told to them. What a joy to the world. Incredible. Wonder how long they stayed in Bethlehem. Wonder how many people they told. Wonder how many times they told each other. Wonder if they held the baby. I wonder when they went back and they looked up at the sky, did they look at it different? Wonder if they looked at their sheep different. Wonder if it changed everything about them. I went on a mission trip to Honduras, and I went with some students, and it was an amazing trip. I've never felt like Jesus the moment I got a chance to give the gospel at the dump in Honduras, a huge place, and they prepared us, and we made food the day before, and I was to give the gospel, and we made these meals, and they told us just to watch out. We actually had soldiers on the bus with us, and we drove up to the dump, and I couldn't picture all the birds that were flying around. And then the stink and the smell was like through the bus. The bus didn't even have to open its doors or windows. And it would attach to you. We would end up throwing away our clothes and stuff like that because you just couldn't get the smell out. I remember when we were driving up, There was another garbage truck that pulled up, and it backed their stuff up, and the garbage was coming out the back, and people were running to it, the back of this truck, this garbage truck. And we would come out and we would give food away, and I was able to give the gospel and tell them about hope and about a manger and about a Messiah who comes for the lowly and who humbled himself. Truly good news. And I remember a person coming up to me afterwards, and he asked me for my sneakers. And again, there's garbage everywhere, so you don't take off your shoes. And I just kind of, I don't know, politely ignored him and went about my business. And then I know he went next. I was just watching him. You know, got to protect the students and make sure everything was okay. And he goes up to the leader of the organization, Aben. And he asks Aben for his shoes. And Aben bends over and unties his shoes and gives them to the guy. And I remember thinking, I preached the gospel, but he just lived the gospel. And I'll never forget that moment of humility by him and how he helped that person. And I'm sure these shepherds, I hope the transformation was real as they see a Messiah in swaddling clothes. I'm going to ask the worship team to come forward. It says here that many people wondered. It's an interesting word. It means amazed. It means marveled. It's a Luke word. It is a Luke word. It's while they were waiting for Zechariah when he was in the temple in this Christmas story, they wondered what was taking him so long because he just got a vision of Gabriel. When he wrote on the tablet, "What shall we name your son?" he writes John. And it says they marveled and they wondered. What does this mean? The father and mother of Jesus are going to wonder at what Simeon and Anna are going to say about this child. It is a wondering and a pondering. And then if you trace that, you should do a study on it throughout Luke. It's incredible. All the way to the end, when Jesus comes back and they're in a room, prepare him room. He enters the room and they wonder. Number one, they're filled with dread. And he says, "Peace with you." It is like the shepherd scene all over again. And he says, "Peace be with you." And they are marveling and wondering, their fears being turned to joy. And he says, "Give me something to eat. I want to show you this is real. Everything I've done. This is no longer the manger scene. This is the cross scene." And it says they put their faith in him, and then they went out and told everybody, just like the shepherds. We're going to sing a song today, and it's called "Prepare Him Room." As you think about it, would you just let your mind and heart go to this story, the humiliation of Jesus, the humility of Jesus for the salvation of his people? And would you just ask God, what do you want me to do with such a message of Christmas? If you're able, would you stand with me?